Can we talk about dieting trauma? What's up, you guys? All right. So I've had this conversation multiple times with some one-on-one clients in the last week. So I wanted to come on here and talk about it. So, the idea, so obviously you guys know that I teach nutrition, but you also probably know that I do a lot of the deeper work, right? So if you've seen the anti-diet blueprint is out, we start next week. So if you want a spot in there, let me know. It's $200 for 4 weeks. It's literally the cheapest coaching that I've done in a long time because I think this is so important. Okay. So what I'm talking about is the trauma with dieting, right? So I have one client that right now, where she is physically, she's made a ton of progress, but she also knows that there's some inflammation. She was on some cancer drugs. She's got to get her body through a detox. So we're working on getting to a 10-day detox, right? And not for weight loss, although that will probably be part of it, but more to clear out her lymphatic system, kind of get her body moving, get her body reset, get her gut healthy again. And so she's reading a book called The 10-Day Detox, which I highly recommend. But as she goes through this, what she's realizing is that there's a lot of trauma. She did one of those shake only diets where you just had shakes for twice a meal and they're twice a day. And then you could have, one real meal, which was a protein and a veggie, right? And she did that for over a year. So as she starts to think about this detox, she has all this trauma of this is what my life was like. I couldn't enjoy food. I couldn't I had no life. It was terrible. Yes, I lost weight, but I felt awful, right? I had no life. I had no fun, right? So we've been walking through that and really getting her mentally, emotionally prepared and looking at, okay, what is that trauma and how do we rewrite this story of that's not what we're doing right now, right? We're looking at a health standpoint and not just a weight loss standpoint, right? So that was one of them. And then another client I was talking to today that we're doing a lot of deep work, and she's, again, had trauma in her life that was non-diet related. And so when she thinks about changing her nutrition, she's really mad at herself because her body, she's I let my body, I kind of gave up on it. And so she's really frustrated with herself. But in the same breath, when she thinks about if I want to change something, my options are boring chicken and food that tastes terrible, right? And so that's the dieting trauma. And what I want you guys to understand is that so much of what I teach is, yes, how do we shift our nutrition into something that is in alignment and where we have boundaries and not rules, but also how can we work through that past dieting trauma so that we can let that go? Because so many of you, whether you know it or not, you have an underlying belief that the only way to get your body to change is through restrictive, crazy dieting where you have no life, you have no fun, you hate what you're doing, your food is terrible, and it's awful, right? It's this battle that goes back and forth. Or you stay where you are, or you go to weight loss drugs, right? And none of those are good options. So what I want you guys to understand is that we have to look at what have we done in the past, what beliefs and challenges has that created, and then how do we get to identify those, work through them, rewrite them, and then let them go so that we can step into a place where we eat to be healthy, but we eat to enjoy food, and we can see that our bodies will change because your body will change without having to be restrictive. And you can get to a place, and I think this is the biggest key, you can get to a place where you truly trust yourself around food, with food, etc., and you understand that you can still get results because food is no longer the enemy, but it's something that you're doing for yourself, with yourself, and in alignment with your higher self. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, but it was something I really felt like I needed to chat about. So again, the anti-diet blueprint, we start next week. It's 4 weeks of coaching. It will be a group program. There will be live coaching. It will be very one-on-one. We're going to talk about macros. We're going to talk about how food works in your body, but we're also going to talk about why we don't diet, how to get over the trauma that we had in the past, and how to really set yourself up to a place where you understand your body and that you know that you can feel good long-term. Okay, so if you want details on that, let me know. I have 10 spots left. So drop me a DM. There is a replay from workshop I did last week if you want to see that, but I would love to have you, and I hope you had a beautiful weekend.